so you're
driving around
disrespecting.
and looking at the empty houses in town, I'm
That's fine.
wondering how
I'm not
much
taking any
buyer's
more comments
remorse
at this
might
point.
affect.
Well, that's not fair.
I'm
No
not
more
taking,
comments here?
this isn't a debate, this isn't a public hearing. The question was asked, when we get the town attorney, we'll put it on the agenda, we'll ask.
section.
This is public.
I can shut off anytime I want. I'm shutting it off.
Excuse me, since when can you shut off the visitors part of the?
Because I'm the first selectman, I
That
shut it
doesn't
off.
make you, that doesn't make you a dictator, Willie.
Yes, it does.
No, it does
Really?
not. I'm so sorry, it
Really?
does not make you a dictator.
I don't care.
Really?
No, I'm sorry, you cannot, you can't do
Willie, you're
that.
not the dictator, you are the representative for the Board of Selectmen.
I am the first selectman.
Correct,
Yeah.
but that
You-
doesn't give you more power than we have. You
Yes,
are
it
the
does. Read the
voice
charter.
of the boards.
Read the
I have
charter,
read the
it does.
charter added tonight.
Move to keep the visitor section open.
And I'm moving to keep the visitor sections open until the visitors have been heard.
I just.
Do I have a second?
Okay, go ahead, I'll let you
All I
avow and
say
that'll
is
be
that
it.
there-
As you know, next Tuesday, the 26th, there's a petition filed for a special town meeting on the 26th. There will not be a special town meeting on the 26th. Our substitute town attorney, because our town attorney was away last week, said that the call of the town meeting could be signed by the selectmen. That is not true. Call of the town meeting for anything other than was already approved by the selectmen has to be voted on by the selectmen. There was no vote, therefore there cannot be a town meeting. Okay. Furthermore, now that our town attorney is back, and I had sent this out to our other legal representation at Shipman and Goodwin, this petition is not valid. Special town meetings can only be called for. Resolution for appropriation of more than $15,000. Resolution authorizing the issuance of bonds or notes, purchase of real estate, sale of real estate lease, with an option which involves a term in excess of 3 years. This does not meet any of those requirements, okay? The selectmen therefore do not take action on this petition. There is no petition. What also has happened, in 1995, there was a case that went to the state Supreme Court. Wyndham Taxpayers Association filed a similar petition on a $24 million school project. The Board of Selectmen, citing the same reasons, did not act on the petition. The Taxpayers Association challenged it, it went to the state Supreme Court, and the decision was upheld by the state Supreme Court of the Selectmen. So therefore, no town meeting, no petition.
I have a question before we get started. This week, the Board of Selectmen received 4 agendas.
Only one was.
The last one was dated yesterday at 10:19 a.m. Monday morning, I called and asked to have an item added to the agenda. Item number 5, petition for a special town meeting. That appeared on agenda 1, dated June 25th, 11:55. It appeared on agenda number 2, June 25th at 12:21. It appeared on agenda number 3, June 25th, 12:59 p.m. And then it disappeared the next day, and I know you and I discussed it.
Correct.
But I don't think that when a selectman asks to have an item put on the agenda, and it appears 3 out of 4 times, that it can be arbitrarily removed by one of the selectmen, that being you.
I'm the first selectman, I set the agenda.
You know what, I looked up in Robert's rules, and the answer is, how can I get an item on the agenda for a meeting? For a proposed agenda to become the official agenda for a meeting, it must be adopted by the assembly at the outset of the meeting, which to me means that at this point in time, we are legally able to adopt any one of these agendas that was presented to us. And I would like to make a motion at this time that we adopt agenda number 3 that includes item number 5, petition for a special town meeting.
Okay, have a second on that? Okay, any discussion on that? All in favor of adopting it?
Aye.
Opposed? Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, motion to, I'll make a motion, I accept the motion to adopt the amended agenda.
I'll make a motion we adopt the amended agenda.
Okay, well then
Second.
clarify for me how you can remove an item
I can
that
remove
I
an agenda
asked to
item
put
up
on.
to 24 hours prior to the meeting. I can set the agenda.
Nowhere does it say that one person has more ability to control an agenda than anywhere else. Because I've been researching this
We just did what you
since
asked, and we didn't.
yesterday, since Tuesday at noon.
Okay, we just did what you asked. We voted on which agenda to use. You asked that, we did. Okay.
Willie, you are not a dictator. This is
Thank God
a
somebody finally
committee
said
with
that.
rule by committee.
No, you're wrong.
Okay?
Amen. Boy, I've been vindicated. Okay. Motion to adopt
Well,
the
then-
amended agenda, not including the petition.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Okay, we got the amended agenda. All right, visitor section. Pam.
Yes, thank you. I have a statement that I would like to read, and I'd also like to submit it to the record. The charter of the town of Clinton specifically empowers its citizens and taxpayers to petition the Board of Selectmen to convene a town meeting, section 4-8, and to adjourn that town meeting to a referendum. The Clinton Taxpayers Association circulated a petition to which town council and the CTA's council had conferred and agreed was a valid petition. On May 23, 2012, the CTA collected 474 signatures, of which 150 were submitted to the town clerk on May 25th. The town clerk, due to the long holiday weekend, could not act on the petition until May 29th and validated 109 signatures on May 30th, 2012. The Board of Selectmen met on June 6th and did not include the CTA petition on its agenda. The Selectmen were challenged by the CTA to meet the 30-day deadline to consider the petition, and was told by the First Selectman that he was waiting for town council to provide an opinion. To which the CTA responded that the Board of Selectmen had 30 days from the date of submission to act, with or without town council's opinion. The following week, the First Selectman canceled the Board of Selectmen meeting for June 13th. In a letter dated June 11th, the First Selectman received an opinion from the office of our town council that the CTA, and I quote, "petition as worded is valid, ... the Board of Selectmen should schedule a special town meeting," end of quote. In accordance with the town charter, the Board of Selectmen on June 13th unanimously signed a call to a special town meeting for June 26th to be held at 7 p.m. at the Morgan High School auditorium. The call to the meeting was posted on the town website and published in the Harbor News. The CTA has moved diligently to fulfill the next step in the process dictated by the Clinton Town Charter. The CTA collected nearly 500 signatures on a petition to adjourn the special town meeting scheduled for June 26 to a referendum. On June 18, 441 signatures in support of the referendum were submitted to the town clerk. In the meantime, the First Selectman, Willie Fritz, apparently did not accept the town council's opinion, and without authorization by the Board of Selectmen to engage another counsel, shopped the opinion to an attorney at Shipman and Goodwin. And while I cannot take the time to elaborate, the Wyndham case that's was cited by Shipman and Goodwin does not have any pertinence whatsoever to our petition. That case has nothing to do with it whatsoever. On the basis of that opinion, and with no consent from Clinton's town council, the First Selectman took it upon himself to unilaterally cancel the June 26th town meeting, which had been approved by the 5 selectmen and legally noticed to the town citizens. The First Selectman took this action at the Board of Selectmen's meeting on June 20th without placing this matter on the agenda or asking the Board of Selectmen to vote on this matter. All above actions of these actions by Willie Fritz are not permitted according to our town charter. On June 25th, the town clerk validated 309 signatures from the CTA's petition to adjourn the meeting to June 26th town meeting referendum. It is the opinion of the Clinton Taxpayers Association that the First Selectman knowingly and purposely subverted and violated the legal process provided in our town charter. All members of the Board of Selectmen are sworn to uphold our town charter. If the other members of the Board of Selectmen acquiesce in these actions, they are in violation of the charter as well. This chain of events has denied the citizens of Clinton their right of petition under the town charter. And the Clinton Taxpayers Association represents thousands of Clinton taxpayers who have been affected by these violations of our town charter. We have been and will continue to lead the fight for the rights of these people. This blatant disregard for the laws set forth in our town charter must be stopped now. We cannot let the personal ambitions of a few selectmen take precedence over the charter which they have taken an oath to uphold. Some of our selectmen seem to have forgotten that Clinton has a town meeting form of government. The Clinton Taxpayers Association Board of Directors will be meeting shortly with our legal counsel to sort through every legal alternative that we have. The Clinton Taxpayers Association is a strong, growing organization. We have talent and we have resources to pursue restoring the rule of law through our town charter. The Clinton Taxpayers Association will not give up until we do this.
Mayor,
I would like to make a motion to add an item to the
anytime. First Selectman.
I would like to make a motion to add an item to the agenda.
Okay.
And I would like to add an item,
6A.
6A, petition for special town meeting.
Okay. Is there a second on that?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed?
You can't vote.
I can, I broke the ticket, I voted with the ticket back. Okay,
Yes.
motion fails.
Well, my report is not a report, it's really primarily questions. When I first got on the Board of Selectmen 2.5 years ago, we had set up a format for how agendas should be posted. And at that time, we made an agreement, because Ray and Tom and I were all brand new, that agendas would be posted on Friday, and that was it. And any backup information would be emailed to us in advance of the meeting, well in advance of the meeting, so that we would have an opportunity to be well informed on any topics that came up. And that has completely gone by the boards.
Actually, it was any resignations and appointments had to be submitted by Friday.
No, it was any items
And
had to be submitted
any new
by
business
Friday.
had to be done by Friday. Right.
Well, okay, whatever it was, I think we need to reestablish what the guidelines
Okay,
are.
we'll send it out to all departments. They have
Well,
to have
no,
it
I
by
think we
Friday.
need to talk about it and discuss, and determine a policy right now going forward, because it's just all up in the air as to who can submit and when and how, at whose discretion items get added and deleted. And like I said, I looked up on Robert's rules of how agenda items get posted, and anybody can post items, and the president can, president being the chair, can, it is wrong to assume, as many do, that the president or chair sets the agenda. It is common for the president to prepare a proposed agenda, but that becomes binding only if it is adopted by the full assembly. So that means that if you present an agenda, it's not official until we all are in agreement on it. And frankly, I think that this week's agenda was just a mess. Items being added, items being deleted back, forth, here and there, and it just creates way too much confusion. We need to set a policy of how agendas will be posted. And I think if a selectman puts an item on there or requests an item on there, that stays until it comes up. And I mean, it was dealt with here, just the way it,
We can
I
vote
could
on
have
the agendas
predicted
every
the
week.
outcome. I could have predicted the outcome. But the point to have that item arbitrarily removed, just because you felt like removing it, was wrong. Can't do that. I would like to set up a policy where the agenda is ironclad by Monday at 5, or when is the town hall closed? 4 o'clock?
4 o'clock.
And that's it. I mean, nothing, we meet every week. Nothing is so all important that it can't be tabled till the
Well,
following
there's
week.
some things that come up last minute that need to get to, say, the Board of Finance the following week, and we can always add that if that's the case.
Right, we'll do it at the,
Right, at the
but
meeting.
also, we need the appropriate information too. I don't know, I mean, the hockey rink thing, I won't go into it now, but I was not well informed on that, and I don't think anybody here was. I mean, we got a 3-page thing, I didn't see the lease, I can't speak for you guys, but, we need all the background information. The problem is, I don't know what I don't know. I don't know what you have that I'm not seeing. And I don't want to vote on things that I am not 100% informed on. I would like to make a motion that the agendas are set at no later than 4 o'clock on Monday, period. Finalized by 4 o'clock on Monday.
No problem.
Can I have a second?
Sure. Any discussion on it? All in favor? Aye. Mary, you write that down?
Thank you. Thank you. I think it will just keep things calmer and going forward.
Call special town meeting order. I'm sorry, we have a lot of work going on in the town hall. We haven't been using the green room much. We do not have access to a microphone. So you're gonna have to listen to my voice, whoever is up here, and whoever is speaking, if we do have questions, is going to have to speak loudly or come up to the front and face the crowd so that people can hear the questions. All right, I call a special town meeting to order. First order of business is to elect the moderator.
Nominate Phil Single.
Second?
I have a nomination for Phil Singh. Do we have any nominations? Got a second on Willie Fritz. Second. All right. Any other nominations? Move to close nominations. A motion to close nominations. Close nominations. All in favor of closing nominations? Aye. Okay. By show of hands, all those in favor of Phil Sangle, please signify by raising your hand. Phil Sangle, please count. The registrars, please count hands for Phil Sangle. Oh, make sure you're not double counting, Wendy.
I know, where's your count? I don't know where she's going. Have you counted yet? No, I haven't started yet. Okay, I'll do it over here.
Okay. All those in favor of Willie Fritz as moderator, raise your hands, please.
All right, I've already got 40. Do you want total?
And I have 20.
You got 41, at least. $91.
Hi, Willie Fritz, moderator. Okay, I'd like the town clerk to read the notice of special town meeting.
And this is the legal notice, Town of Clinton, special town meeting. The electors of the Town of Clinton and all other citizens qualified to vote in town meetings of the said Town of Clinton are hereby notified and warned that a special town meeting will be held at 6:15 p.m. on Wednesday, December 12, 2012, at the Andrews Memorial Town Hall, 54 East Main Street, Clinton, Connecticut, to hear and consider the following. Resolved to approve the purchase of 69-69A Killingworth Turnpike for the purpose of the new Morgan School. Dated at Clinton, Connecticut, the 20th day of November 2012, signed by William W. Fritz Jr., First Selectman, and this was published in the Harbor News on December 6th this year.
Don't confuse me with more information than that. And they want to vote without knowing.
Votes needed to carry to call the question. The votes needed were 132, based on signed in. We had 139. So now we proceed.
Sounds like a Democrat meeting.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor to go with the paper ballot.
Yes.
Second. Yes. Is there a motion to go with a show of hands? Okay, second on that? Yes. Okay. Again, with a show of hands, since the first motion was a paper ballot, we will have a show of hands. People can make motions. Paper ballot. Show of hands for a paper ballot, please.
Yes. Yes.
Paper ballot.
Show of hands for a handful. Show of hands in favor. What? Hand vote. This is a vote to have a vote by hand, not by paper. Okay, folks. The vote, hands, in favor of hands was 123. In favor of paper ballot was 50. So the vote will be by a show of hands. Okay, all in favor of the resolution to purchase the property 6969A Killingworth Turnpike for the purpose of New Morgan School signify by raising your hand.
What's the question?
Count again.
Yes or no?
Raising your hand to buy this property.
Yes or no? Yes.
Hey, Johnny. Motion not here. It's up front.
Okay. All those opposed, please raise your hand.
Get him up there.
Why not put both hands?
You know what they do?
Why can't we?
See, they count our hands and they count their fingers.
Absolutely.
These people certified to count?
Certainly better than having this. No, they're going to janitor.
Yeah, I know.
Did you get counted? You didn't pass a clipboard. Yeah. You did? Yes. They didn't count you? Came behind you.
Aye. Good. Motion carries 102 to 91. Everybody signify by saying aye.
Yes, please.
Yes, sir, Mr. Snyder.
I just wanted to bring up our town meetings. The last one, of course, was held last week on the school. And I would just like to appeal to the Board of Selectmen to kind of get a handle on these town meetings and run them in a parliamentary fashion, especially when there's a controversial issue. I know a lot of them are semi-routine and you get smaller crowds, but when you have a bigger crowd, it can be a problem. And you know, I do thank you for having the registrars there. That's a step in the right direction. But at that particular meeting, and I know the auditorium was not available, in that meeting you had, I guess, almost 200 people, maybe you had 200 people crammed in there. People got their hands up, they're talking, they're moving around. You know, when you do a hand count like that, it's prone to inaccuracies. And I'm not saying it was inaccurate, but it's prone to error. And when it's prone to error, then it's prone to suspicion, you know, that something happened. And I think it's just so avoidable. You know, and the other thing is, I think in those big controversial meetings like that, you know, if you had a parliamentarian, it just...
I'm working on it. I talked to Bennett the next day.
Okay, I mean...
He's got a guy in his office that he would send down.
Okay. Now, there is a guy in town, many of you may know him, who I consider an expert on Robert's Rules of Orders, Ed Miller. He's on the Board of Selectmen for 4 or 6 years. He's as straight as they come. He'd probably be willing to do it once in a while without remuneration. But that's, you know, you may get some volunteers are problematic, I understand that. And you want consistency, but I just think it avoids suspicion and controversy, and it just, And when you have the auditorium back, it'll be easier, people will be in chairs and all that, but I just hope that good governance is very important, and I hope that's one angle where we can improve with governance, so, thank you.
Especially when I'm gonna have a cop the next time too, so when people are in front row calling people names, they can get them removed.
Well,
Maybe that's not a bad idea.
There's a couple there, it's all
But you know
about.
what, he brings up a good point, because I came in the back door, and Don Hanson said to me, oh, you have to go up front and talk to June. I didn't know what I had to go talk to June for, I just thought, because the parking was so bad, I
You gotta
parked in
sign
front
it.
of the police department, came in the back door, figured I was there. I just wonder how many people didn't know, and were standing there and were voting that weren't registered. I mean, you just want things done nice and tight. You don't want any questions later, you don't want any second
Well, they did the
guessing.
best they can with the circumstances, again, with
Well,
the room.
I mean,
and-
they should have closed the door and said, go around to the front.
Well,
And that way you would have known that everybody who came in was registered. And there should be some signifying that they are qualified to vote. I mean, the hands were up, who knows whether those were people that were just not
Well, they
registered?
had a count of how many people checked in, and they had a count of how many voted, and it was
Okay.
relatively,
All right, well, that's-
there weren't more voting than actually had signed in, so.
Well, I think the idea of a parliamentarian is.
Yeah,
the
John has a
idea.
guy in his office, it wouldn't cost us anything, it's just.
It wouldn't cost anything?
No.
Because
You'd be under
because
his
Ed
hands.
Miller is phenomenal, and he's right here, and he comes to a lot of meetings anyway.
No, but that's, again, you get into, they don't want me doing it, we want Ed doing it, you wanna talk about partisanship, bring somebody outside, that's it,
I
just
feel comfortable
neutral
with
party.
someone from outside, and I think,
Yeah.
one thing that probably would have made a difference that night too is there were a lot of people there who had to get home, and it took a lot longer than
Huh.
it may have if we had someone who was just.
Cut down all the rhetoric.
Well, I think people tend
Yeah.
to ask you questions because you're standing there when you're moderating,
Mm.
and if it's someone who's neutral, it's nothing related to you.
Yeah, but the
But
moderator.
comment.
you're not supposed to ask the
I mean, you
moderator
can be there as an
questions
informational
about the
source, but you
substance.
shouldn't
But
be
it should be-
moderating the meeting.
Of the issue at hand.
Comments.
There should be more
I
comments
mean,
than
the
questions.
moderator just
It's
conducts things.
Perfectly all right for you to take positions, and you should,
Right.
that's your job. You take positions,
Well,
that's fine.
I voted for the damn thing, so why wouldn't I be in favor of purchasing the property?
Right, but
Exactly, but
As
that puts you
moderator,
in
you
that,
shouldn't be asking you
that's a
questions.
partial position. Partial.
But to Carol's point, if the registrars gave everybody a little sticker, and I know it adds to the complexity of things, it gives everybody a little sticker, at least they
Then
know.
you know
who's-
questions.
And the next time we won't let anybody stand at the door and pass things out either.
Well, you
That
know
shouldn't
what,
be going on
set the
either.
rules up,
Yeah.
set the rules up, and
And
then
at
we all
that,
live with
at that point, when it
way.
was brought to my attention, I said, it's too late in the game, I'm not gonna be a jerk and go throw them out, just that, stay above board on that.
Well, and we just need to set the rules and stick with them, and that way there are no questions.
So
I mean,
the
right
only
now, we have a
issue-
lot we can winnow through and come to a conclusion.
Well, there's a lot of them, that, like you said, Phil, there's a lot of town meetings that are just boom, 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 and that's not a problem.
Right.
That's what I was just gonna say, how do you decide?
Well, you know when something.
Well,
I
when it's
know
the
that-
school, it's a hot button, and people are
Now,
gonna.
hopefully it'll be the last one for the school, so.
Right.
All right.
I think they're all being sort of kind, actually, Willie. I think that as moderator, you're not supposed to participate. And I wasn't here, I understand Mr. McCusker used to get somebody else to moderate.
No, Jim moderated all the
Did
meetings.
he? Yes. Well, anyway, I think it would be a very good practice to have somebody else moderate if you want to participate. Also, making a motion over somebody else's motion as the moderator, and it's all on video. I mean, it's really embarrassing. You should know better than that. And so I think enough said, but I think we can do better. After my son's freshman year, I said, you still have a shot at most improved. I'm pulling for you, Willie. I think you can do a heck of a lot better.
You got it.
Kurt.
Thanks.
We
And
can all
happy
improve.
birthday.
After the nice things I said about you the other night, come on.
Oh, and by the way, what is wrong with exercising your First Amendment rights at the door? Is there some rule against passing out?
Well, we don't allow it at the election, but.
Yeah, but this is not a referendum. Is there something that says you're supposed to not pass things out within
I think you
75
have to
feet?
stand outside the door, I think
Yeah,
having
stand
them
outside the door and hand it out.
Instead of in the, plus it also added to the confusion of people trying to check in at that point, it was another thing that had to, so. And I didn't say anything, did I, that night?
Did the dummy get the vote?
The dummy
Yes, I
went
did.
twice. Yeah.
I was wondering if you were talking about me, I didn't vote.
I I did notice the dummy had both hands.
Yeah, I was hoping at least for ties so you get a chance to vote.
All right, anything else? Okay. Visitors, anybody this evening? Okay.
Mr. Fritz?
Yes, sir.
About a week ago, 2 weeks ago, several weeks ago, we did the following exchange. Do you want to stand by that, or you want to change anything you said?
Well, no, as far as I know, Jim monitored all the meetings.
Okay, well, I'd like to pass around some minutes, which you may not be aware of.
And what is the purpose of this?
Well, the point is the
I
point of
really
all
don't know
this.
what you're trying to get to, because here's what I'll do with those, because it doesn't mean anything to
But
me.
that's just rude.
But this is
Yeah,
rude,
it is.
Carol. This is rude, Carol, because what I said at that meeting was, in future, when things come up, I will have somebody other than myself moderate. Did
I
I
don't
say
think he
that?
said that. I don't
Yes,
think-
he did.
Yes, I did.
Yes, he
No, he said he would have somebody there as a parliamentarian.
I will have somebody else moderate.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
Called Bennett's
Then as long as
office,
they would
and
send
they
somebody
send
down
somebody.
and they would moderate the meetings for
Well,
me.
that's not what I understood, and I've
Well, that's
got
what he
it,
said.
and I have it on video, I'll go back and check it.
You said you inquired about
Is that what
having
you
a
meant?
That's fine,
parliamentarian.
and have somebody else moderate. I'm not gonna moderate anymore if it's a meeting that has something that's controversial that I probably shouldn't participate in.
Well, that's progress, good, thank you very
No,
much.
I said that a couple weeks ago.
Good,
I don't know
okay.
why you guys keep doing this stuff.
You know what? You represent the entire.
I understand, but it's 7 people that keep doing the same stuff out of 14,000.
Have respect for.
7
their
people out of
opinion.
14,000 that we gotta deal with all the time. You know, everything's a conspiracy, nothing's any good. And it's only, it's
stop.
only not good when they don't get their way,
Stop,
which
right there.
nothing's good.
Okay, all right.
All right,
I
moving
know,
on.
it's frustration.
I just wish,
And
they take the intelligence they have and put it towards something positive, which has never been done.
well, there are a lot of taxpayers who do feel
But
like
they
they are
haven't
moving
come up
in a
with any
very
positive
positive.
ideas or any alternatives, and all they do is just shoot down everything. That's what
Well, I think that's perspective.
No,
I
it's
think
true.
that's perspective.
It's true.
No, I honestly believe that that's opinion and that's perspective, but regardless of that, it's just respect for individuals
I-
and that's,
I
okay.
did say that I was going not to
I was
moderate.
actually surprised that the editorial came out in the patch that said
Afterwards.
that it was brought here and that it was not dealt with, because it was my understanding that Bennett's office would send somebody, we had a discussion about should we distinguish between controversial issues and none, and we decided yes, and we could determine before a meeting whether or not we needed a moderator. And then we had the letter to the
Well, then
editor
we
patch
should do
that
that.
we didn't
Right.
discuss it, so.
Then we should do that.
When things
I've never
come up.
heard that discussion.
We said-
We had it at our last meeting.
It's all on video, and I think you'll
I
find
don't recall that
that that's at odds with what happened.
Okay.
I do recall you saying
I
that you had
specifically
consulted
asked how we
Bennett
were
about
gonna decide
parliamentarian.
between,
And he would send somebody down to run the meetings for us.
No,
But that's
as a
different
parliamentarian
from
is what I think you said, which is fine, there's a difference between parliamentarian and moderator.
Well, I said to run the meetings.
All right, well, that's, okay, so that's
I also
moving
did say that I would
towards,
not.
in a way that people,
Okay.
all right.
Board of Finance to order. First item is public comment. Everybody, please back up a little bit, okay? If anybody wants to comment, please do so at this point. Yeah, I got it on here. Public comment, budget review. Anybody? Anyone want to comment?
I'm sorry, is that the public as well?
Yeah,
I'd like
public
to,
comment.
okay, I'd like to comment. I think that the taxpayers are telling you that the budget is too high, number one, and even more importantly, that there is no need for a tax increase, and that you should use whatever means are possible, including appropriating the surplus from the Board of Ed budget that is, to this point, calculated by the finance director towards the new budget.
Anybody else?
Kirk Carr, I'd just like to add that I think that passing a budget, any budget, without knowing the current estimated surplus is in violation of the town's charter, and to do so is a violation of your oath of office.
We know what the
current estimated surplus is. It's about $4.6 million. We know that.
That's the undesignated fund, not the current surplus.
That is surplus. The undesignated fund is the audited
That is
surplus.
that is not the surplus. The surplus,
Absolutely is the surplus.
it's the current budget surplus.
We don't know the current.
We don't know what the current operating
The-
budget surplus is.
We won't know that
You're
until after
incorrect.
the year end.
The surplus refers to the audited surplus that is left over.
It says the
as of
current
June
year's
30th,
surplus.
2012.
Read
Current year's
the,
surplus includes the account noted that everyone calls the undesignated surplus. So we know how much is in the undesignated surplus account.
that's simply not accurate.
All right.
It's supposed to be the estimated surplus, not the audited surplus. The charter is clear.
Now, it is clear, you just aren't interpreting it correctly.
Okay.
And the elected board is interpreting it correctly. Bob, what's the surplus? I mean, if you had to give a number on what the surplus is or what the undesignated fund is,
What is the current year's surplus?
we don't know what the current year's surplus is.
You were supposed to know that when you passed.
How do you know that when you have 2 months to go?
The charter requires you to have an estimate of the current surplus. That's what the charter says.
Which the
Read,
finance director can provide you with right now.
and you should not be passing any budget without that number.
So Bob, what is it?
The way I understand, it's, the current surplus would be the undesignated fund balance that's in the audit as of June 30th, 2012. Anything else is just an estimate.
The charter says the estimated
Okay.
surplus.
Which is $4.6 million.
That's not the estimated.
Well, so actually, I'm a little confused.
That's
because
what we interpret it to be.
We estimated 250,000 as allocated surplus, and actually at the last meeting, a couple people wanted to take all of that out, so we made it 200,000. So we did do what the charter says, which was to consider a source of surplus, which we do. We have a line item in there that says allocated surplus. We also considered it when we talked about the Board of Ed capital budget, and we reduced that because they anticipate some sort of surplus. They can't tell us exactly what it is because the year ends on June 30th and many things can change, but they considered that if they have some sort of surplus, then they can accelerate their capital purchases, and so we reduce the capital budget. So Vin, back to your suggestion, I'm unclear as to how we violated charter because we already did consider a surplus in the budget. And so the 800, you threw a number around, I mean, that amount, we did do half of it, we put it in the budget.
I think-
I don't know what you want us to do now.
I think it's a matter of semantics. I mean, the words that we use, surplus, is according to audited numbers.
Okay.
The words that are coming from here are extra monies that haven't been spent, that were placed for spending from last year's budget. And they're calling it surplus when it's just a matter of, it's a wording issue that we're involved in right now, describing it accurately.
And the $868,000 figure was not just plucked out of the air. That's the last estimate of what you were given in terms of the estimate of the surplus for this.
Yes, and we considered that, and we had that number available to us when we passed the budget, and we utilized a portion of that and applied it towards the budget that was voted on tonight.
Okay, and the voters have just told you that that's not enough and that they
And
don't want a
unfortunately, we
tax
can't add
increase.
to any line items, we can
We
reduce.
can reduce.
What you voted for or against was the spending budget. We have to reduce the spending budget. It has nothing to do with income, where it's coming from. We have to reduce the spending budget.
And I recommend that you reduce it to the point where there will be no tax increase to the residents of Clinton.
How much of an increase did we have this year? 3.3% from last year's budget? So what are you talking about, crazy number?
On the town side or the?
No, the total budget, I mean, he just said he.
1.36% was the total increase between
Total
town
on
and
both
board.
sides.
Both sides.
Okay, one on a $38 million?
$42 million.
$42 million, and it's what, 1.
I can tell you right now the numbers. We reduced 52K from the combined budgets. okay, it reduced the 50K, reduced the mill rate by .038 mils.
The proposed increase.
Proposed increase mill rate, 100K by .035, okay?
That's not flat, he's talking about flat.
Flat, you're not gonna get the flat. You're not gonna get the flat.
Okay, I just wondered what his number was, he said get a flat.
You're not gonna get flat.
$868,000.
You're not gonna get the flat.
The tax increase as budgeted was
It's not a
2.2%.
public hearing, you're not involved in this meeting. It's not a public hearing, so.
Well, then, I mean,
No,
they
it's
public
right.
comment, I let them public comment, but I mean,
It's
as
not a
far
public
as.
hearing. Public hearing is next week, you can do whatever you want.
Point of order, I think you've asked for public comment. I think it's on your agenda.
But I'll tell you, right now, unequivocally, there's a new police officer that's gone. There are full-time positions potentially in this town hall that are gone. And there's gonna be infrastructure improvements that are going on the town side of the budget. And I'll tell you that right now, unequivocally.
We know that.
We've been through this before. They complain about lack of services, lack of this, lack of, when you come into town hall, there's no town planner, this and that. This is the reason why. Kurt, keep filming. I love it. I appreciate it. You don't like the town. I don't know why you moved here. I think you should go back from where you came from. I don't care. I really don't care, because you've been degrading this town ever since you've been here.
Stop.
I'm done with you. Smart guy, you think you know where you wanted to move to? If you didn't like this place, why'd you move here?
So Dennis, any ideas?
Civil and adults.
How much are you?
I'm an adult, Mona. He's not. He just doesn't like Clinton.
Willie, please.
We're trying to have a meeting here.
I mean, we can do a percentage decrease, or we can go line by line. We can choose
I'd like to at
things.
least think about taking a look at line by line, because
I agree.
I kind of agree with what Al did before. Is look, I'm not here to make percentages, just to be some.
I recommend a 1%, and our selectmen come back to us during the week and say, this is where I want to go. 1%. 1%.
Well, if we go through and we give him a number, then he can go and make the recommendation, and then come back to us. So I like going through this and getting it, and giving it to him, and then let him see if he can do what he needs to
Operating's
do.
up $5,000. No, is that eight?
52?
We're gonna talk again about it, we can vote again. You're gonna.
All right, I'll move, we reduce the budget by $175,000.
There you go.
All right, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, let's talk about the Board of Ed.
Give you 175.
All right, I'd like to call the special town meeting to order. First order of business is to select a moderator. Do I have any nominations?
I nominate Rod Kerouac.
You want it, you got it, my friend.
I'm just kidding.
Do you have a second on that?
With this crew, I think I can.
Do you have a second on that? Yeah. All in favor, Rod?
Aye.
Opposed? No, I'm second. Motion carries. There you go.
I'm going to be bad, but I'll do my best.
Come on up.
All right, so what do I need to do?
First order of business has the town clerk to read the call of the special town meeting.
Could you read the call, please? Thank you very much.
And I have to have the spelling of your last name.
Oh,
I'll give you several.
I asked Ray. Where is he? He's like,
Okay, well, this is the legal, no motion to waive the reading of the
I'll make a motion to waive the reading of the call.
second.
Say it.
All in favor?
Aye.
So I second.
Moderator can't vote.
Oh, thank you.
Keep me honest.
Okay,
All right.
so motion to waive the reading.
Let's go resolution by resolution. I'll make a motion to approve that.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, I wonder if we have a member of the Board of Finance here, perhaps you could explain what we're doing here.
Probably not, but I can. You know, unfortunately, somebody that has never done anything good for the town has to pick on somebody who wants to do it.
You've never done anything for the state. You lost $100 million on I-84 itself.
And how many businesses did you put out? How many guys did you put in bankruptcy with your little subdivision?
Excuse me, I did it, the town did, by starting, by holding CEOs. Thank you. I'm not Mr. Fortune.
I don't even know where you live, man. We're still trying to figure
I
out
know where
where
I
you live.
live. Where do you live? In a $150,000 house.
Where's your New York place come from?
Live just,
Yeah, you're a big shot. I'd like to, I ran out of time on my printer, but just to, if you have some copies of the minutes in which the ice rink was approved. And I don't know whether the minutes are incorrect or not, but they indicate that shoreline ice, I'm sorry, I ran out of time printing, so I've got some other things, but my printer, yeah, and then I got this traffic, it was incredible getting this one. But it indicates that shoreline ice has a facility at Northford that...
No, that was never said.
We
We refer to the Northford Rink.
Please read the minutes, Mr. Fritz.
I'm saying, well, if the minutes say that, they're wrong. No. They didn't.
What do the
Who
minutes
said
say?
Shoreline Ice had a rink in North Branford?
It does say that.
I know it says it there, but that's incorrect.
Did anybody correct the minutes?
Apparently not.
So, does anybody here, other than Mr. Fritz, think that is incorrect?
It's incorrect. They don't have a rink in Northford. I use the comparison of the Northford Rink because for the tax revenue could be generated from this project potentially.
Well, in fact, here I have for you, and Mr. Pacino, Semino, sorry, not Pacino, is correct that shoreline ice didn't exist at the time. But what's the point? The point is the people that you're dealing with here are questionable. That's the point. The other point is this. Have you guys even seen this lease? Has anybody here on this board seen the lease?
They got it right in front of them.
Okay.
No,
Did you
this
see?
is the extension.
Did you see the lease before it was approved, the last lease? Did you see the lease before it was approved? Well, the fact of the matter is that before any lease is signed by the First Selectman, any contract is signed by the First Selectman, under the charter, you are supposed to approve it. This is 5-7D of the charter. And I have a whole list, I didn't bring it with me, but I have a whole list because Mary was kind enough to give us a lot of contracts. And my guess is that Mr. Fritz has signed a lot of contracts that you've never approved. And under 5-7D of the charter, and for transparency purposes, he should be bringing every lease, every contract, every legal document to you, just for you to be aware of it, but also for you to approve it. He doesn't have the authority to sign these things without your approval.
The details of the lease were laid out as part of the process. We went to the Selectmen town meeting board, zoning board town meeting. It was all laid out.
But the thing is that every lease, every contract should be shared with the board.
Once the board approves to go forward with something, that gives me the authority to sign it.
Yeah, no, it doesn't.
Sure it does.
Okay, look at, okay, I'll give you this is the charter.
I'm still trying to tell them, town meeting approved it, so it's a new point at this time, Mr. Carr.
The leases, they approved the project, but under the 5-7D of the charter, right here, this is the charter, 5-7D of the charter says that the Board of Selectmen shall have the following powers and duties and shall authorize the execution of contracts, leases, deeds, and other legal instruments by the First Selectman. I don't know how they can authorize it if they haven't seen it.
Once they approve going forward, they basically authorize me to go forward.
I think that they're supposed to authorize...
And the lease was drawn up by the town attorney.
Yeah, but they're supposed to approve it.
It was approved at a town meeting.
They are supposed to see the lease, they're supposed to see everything in the lease.
We're really getting down to semantics now, okay?
No, we're not.
Yes, we are, Kurt.
No, we're not. Anyway.
I mean, again, I go back to, here we have something that's potentially a good thing for the town, and there's always gonna be something wrong with it because it was my idea, right? I'm the one that brought it forward. That's what it comes down to.
No, that's
because
not.
you guys didn't think of it.
It's illegal.
It's a great idea.
It's illegal. You can't change the entity.
I agree with you 100%. And I agree it's a great idea. The place that it's in and the people that you're dealing with, I think, are questionable.
Okay.
And I think the people on the Board of Selectmen should have a chance to look at every lease, at every contract, and I think you ought to table this while you look a little bit deeper into this. I think this was done somewhat hastily. No. And I don't think that these people had a chance to look at this. I see you've got this lease in front of you now, that's a good thing.
You guys said they got it down yesterday.
So anyway, but this is what's in the charter that I think that you regularly do not adhere to. And here's a list, and then this is, I thought I hadn't brought it, but here's a list here's an inventory of contracts and leases. And my guess is that you haven't seen most of these contracts and leases. And correct me if I'm wrong, but if you've had a chance to review all these contracts and leases before they were put in place, and I'd be very surprised. So Correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not always right, but I'm never in doubt.
Okay.
That's fine, thank you very much.
Moving on. I have motion and second. All in favor of Leah?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
I'll vote yes. It's a tie.
Good job.
Congratulations. This morning. All right, next, Lori. Motion for Lori. Second on that?
I'll second.
Discussion with Lori. Carol already got her pretty good. Anybody else have any questions for Lori? Again, it's about the time, it's about the homework. Theoretically, you get voted now, you get sworn in. I hope that both of you actually would get a copy of the budget and try to take a look at it before tonight. That would be helpful. I'm a little surprised, quite frankly, I'm a little pissed that the two of you are up for these positions and have never taken the time in the last 2 or 3 weeks to actually pull the budget out and take a look at what's out there, knowing that this was going on today, but that's another story for another day. But that's my lecture. Okay? So I have a motion and a second. Any comments? All right, all in favor of Lori?
I do have a comment. Would you be willing to resign from the Board of the Library in order to take this seat?
I can't answer that at this time.
Okay. That's my question, that's the answer.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
So it's 3-1, and I'll go yes. All right. None abstentions, no no's. Congratulations, get sworn in at 9 o'clock. All right, I'd like to call the special town meeting to order. First order of business is to select a moderator. Do I have any nominations?
I nominate Rod Kerouac.
You want it, you got it, my friend.
I'm just kidding.
Do you have a second on that?
With this crew, I think I can.
Do you have a second on that? All in favor, Rod?
Aye.
Opposed? No abstentions, motion carries. There you go.
Probably gonna be bad, but I'll do my best.
Come on up.
All right, so what do I need to do?
First order of business has the town clerk to read the call of the special town meeting.
Could you read the call, please? Thank you very much.
I have to get the spelling of your last name.
Oh. Give you several.
I asked Red, where is he? He's like,
Okay, well, this is the legal, no motion to waive the reading of the
I'll make a motion to waive the reading of the call.
second.
Say it.
All in favor?
Aye.
So I second.
Moderator can't vote.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, keep me on.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve that.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, I wonder if we have a member of the Board of Finance here, perhaps you could explain what we're doing here.
Probably not, but I can.
Could you?
Yeah, and it happened last year too with the Irene account. For some reason, the finance director put those into the operating budget when the money was appropriated out of the undesignated fund balance. It should have been put into a capital account, so at the end of the fiscal year, Irene last year, we had to go back to the town and reappropriate the money and designate it into a capital account. This is the same thing for the hurricane and the blizzard. So that because those are ongoing operations, we're waiting for FEMA. We actually got some good news from FEMA today regarding the Causeway and Beach Park projects. They've approved those partial remediation and mitigation projects. So that's what it comes down to.
Any other questions?
Is there an amount of this that went to McGuire?
Well, I'm sure that part of it is with their contract, sure.
Okay.
It's unexpended money though, Kirk, at this point. Any other questions?
Hearing none?
No, it's motion second, all in favor, that's it. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
You can't vote, the moderator can't vote.
Opposed?
I can't either, so.
Okay, well, I think we're there.
Wait, good thing I can't get it.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. This is the second resolution to approve all line item transfers as presented by the finance director and approved by the Board of Finance totaling $272,973.64.
Make a motion to approve. Discussion. Second.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none?
Hearing none?
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Abstentions?
Then we have resolved to accept the $500,000 downtown streetscape improvements grant.
Stay again.
Doesn't say that, it's on.
I'll make a motion to accept.
Second.
Discussion?
Can you tell us what you plan to do with the money?
That is for phase 2 of the streetscape improvement plan, which would be for Commerce Street to Library Lane, portion of Library Lane, Post Office Square, the entirety of Post Office Square up to the railroad tracks, and Main Street, which at that point is up to Route 81 Hull Street.
Are there any plans to move or remove the poles, the utility poles that are in
No.
front?
No.
So those will remain?
Yes. Any other discussion, questions? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion to adjourn. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Yeah,
Wow.
opposed?
What a frown.
See? Okay.
Want the spelling?
For you, ma'am, yes.
Weapons, but we recommended, I think it's, at least the board knows, Eddie Alvarino. And I just want to talk to that for a second. Mr. Alvarino is the only person that came to us seeking to be appointed to something in town. He wanted to serve, he wanted to do something more. He's done a lot for the fire department for, I understand, almost 30 years. Heavily involved as a captain, involved in the ambulance corps. He does training for CPR and that sort of thing. But he came to us seeking someplace to serve. Nobody else came forward, so we found this slot and we're recommending him to you. We understand, of course, that there was another person filling this slot whose term expired. And I just want to say that I would ask you to respect the recommendation of the RTC. I would hazard to guess that if some Democrat came forward and bypassed the DTC, they wouldn't even be on the agenda. They would never even be considered. So I just would hope the same courtesy would be extended to us. Now, if there's some Republican that you would like to reward because they campaigned for you or made a campaign contribution or did whatever in the past, service to the town or whatever, I think that's fine. Everybody's entitled to do whatever they want, whatever's legal. And so all I would suggest is that you take a slot or a seat that's been traditionally a Democratic seat and give it to that person. Don't take it away from us. Just as you wouldn't like it if the shoe was on the other foot. So you have to remember that sometimes things will change and those kind of things can come back and haunt you. So I just ask you to respect our recommendation.
That's fine. Thank you. Apparently, Mr. Alvarino has withdrawn his name at this point.
I'm not aware of that.
He said that to me before the meeting. And I told Mrs. Isaacson that she has to go through the RTC.
Did you withdraw? Sir,
Well, we haven't got to that point yet. When we get to that point in the agenda, we'll let Eddie talk if you, whatever's going on. But I will correct you that you make assertions and assumptions wrongfully, because there have been many Democrats that have not gone through the DTC that have been appointed by this board. There have been Republicans that have switched to use and then put on commissions like the Harbor Commission because it was a Democratic seat, but I thought they would fill that position very well. All right, and that has not gone through the DTC. So don't make bold assumptions because you know what assume means? An ass out of human beings. So Phil, for your short time in town, you make a lot of assumptions. That's not the way it's worked. Thank you. RTC recommendation appointments. Rod Kerouac, Conservation. Anthony Pinto, EDC. Phil Sengel, Fair Rent. John Paulson, Fish and Game. Joseph Paulson. Roy Sullivan, Fish and Game. Thomas Riggio, Shellfish. Ed Alvarino is in the wetlands.
Well, are you including that in this recommendation?
Yes, the RTC recommendation, I included.
Okay, then I'm making a motion that we accept the RTC recommendations for appointments.
Okay, just a second. Discussion. Edward. Sir. Are you still in?
There it is. I just want to get this, I want to say this. I wanted to serve our community, and I spoke to John, Lynn, Willie know my intentions, and Phil, and I appreciate everything. But I've been part of the fire department across the street for over 20 years, and volunteerism to me is very important. But it's also important not to step on anybody's toes. And I feel like I'm in a position that I'm stepping on someone's toes. Now, whether it be political, not political, Liz Isaacson has done a lot for the town, has been on the board. And when I found out that she wants to be on the board or part of the inland wetlands, I don't want any problems. So in doing that, I want to withdraw my name unless Mrs. Isaacson doesn't want it. If there's any open positions, I would gladly do it. You know, I've been doing it across the street for over 20 years, right, Willie? And as many of you some of you don't know, I donate all my time for the CPR to train in the schools, Jack Cross, and everything. That's what I love to do, to give. But I don't like. I'm too old. I'm 50 years old. I don't want to get involved in a lot of things that I don't need to be involved in. You know, and I'm not politically correct. I just say what's on my mind. And sometimes it hurts people, but at least everyone knows where I come from. There is no gray area.
Well,
So
this sort of thing happens all the time.
but
I understand. I mean,
I don't like to hurt anybody. You know, like I just don't. I always want to be respectful of everybody. And the last person I want to hurt is Mrs. Isaacson. I really do. You know, I mean, maybe it was an oversight. You know, but that being said,
Can we table this though?
table it, do what you want, but I don't want to
I
get
told
involved.
Mrs. Isaacson that she needs to go through the RTC.
And she should.
You have a meeting next week. This is not an earth-shattering thing. Nothing's going to stop because there's nobody there. Right.
Mr. Sengel, can I just ask you one question? Did you contact Ms. Isaacson to find out if she was still interested in remaining on the Inland Wetlands Commission?
I did not
Okay,
contact
I
her.
just wondered.
The vast majority of these people I did not contact.
I just,
No, everybody knows the procedure, especially those who've been here a long time and who have served a number of years. They know the procedure. You know, in hindsight, maybe I should have called, but I didn't call the others. And, you know, I get word that people are interested. Eddie did actually approach me. He's one of the few that approached me. That's
About several months ago, and I approached Willie, and I approached John. I mean, everybody said
a
lot of people. They said there's a lot of people.
We'll find something. It's not that hard. There's a lot of openings.
They said there's a lot of openings. You know, so except your jobs.
You want water pollution? You want water pollution? You want water pollution?
He's an owner, Billy. You gotta make me you.
I don't care.
We'll find something.
If you're qualified, we'll put you on water pollution. I don't know.
Water, right? Yeah. I guess I
He knows how to crush rock now. He's a stone crusher.
But that's my intentions, and I thank everyone here for, you know, just.
No problem.
well, it does sound like this is something that needs to be taken until we're a little clearer on what we do going forward here. So I'd like to make a motion to accept the RTC recommended appointments of Rodney Kerouac, Anthony Pinto, Phil Sengel, Joseph Paulson, Roy Sullivan, Tom Riccio, and that's it. And tabling the Edward L. Reno and Elizabeth Isaacson appointment to inland wetlands till next week.
Need a second.
And I'm sure you guys could find something.
Need a second. Not a second.
A discussion, I feel as if I need to abstain from Mr. Purrock's, so I don't know how you want to do that, if you want them separately or.
No, abstain on them all.
I'll just abstain on them all.
Okay. We have second and motion. Any further discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye. Thank you, everybody.
Abstentions, Lynn, good.
I was very concerned to read about this suit in the paper and on the patch today about this, about the Board of Selectmen being sued by a representative of the CTA to have the Board of Selectmen acknowledge the petition that the CTA has brought forward. I think we need to address this. We can't just act like this isn't happening and that, I mean, the CTA, near as I can tell, the issue is that the CTA did all the work that they had to do to bring this to us to get to a special town meeting. That they fulfilled the letter of, and the intention of the charter in their petition. They discussed it with their lawyers. Their lawyers, I mean, the town council at the time, Attorney Wells, said that it was a valid petition, and 5 selectmen signed that document stating that we would have a special town meeting, and the special town meeting was discarded on a technicality, because I had my own conversation with Attorney Bennett, and he said that when 5 selectmen put their signatures on a document, which we did, saying that we would have a special town meeting, that denotes an obligation, and it, yes,
That's not what he said.
this is what he said to me.
I got it in writing from him.
This is what he said to me. And
It has to be
he
an act of the
said
selectmen, and signatures are not an
that
act
it
of the
can
selectmen.
be a discretionary choice on the part of the selectmen, whether to acknowledge that 5 signature item as being the pivotal element, or to have a vote at a selectmen's meeting.
Which we didn't either.
We didn't do either, but we have to do one.
No.
Yeah, we do.
It's not a
The
valid
charter
petition.
says that we have to do
It's
this.
not a valid petition. I got a dissenting opinion from somebody that he was not our town attorney. Our town attorney was not.
You know what, we could just deal with this
No,
and
we
have
can't.
this over
We don't have
and
to.
done with. We do have to.
No, we don't have to.
We,
The lawsuit has been filed. I was gonna bring it up, but you already did. The lawsuit's been filed. It's pending litigation now. We shouldn't even be talking about it.
well, when I'm reading about it on the patch in the New Haven Register, that I'm being sued,
You're
and
not
I
sued.
haven't
The town
heard
is being
anything,
sued.
the
The town
Board
is-
of
it's
Selectmen
the town.
versus the
You
Board
cannot
of
be sued
Selectmen of
personally.
the town
You are
of
a
Clinton.
town agent.
It concerns me. I
You get
just,
sued all the time, Karen.
that's what you told me. I just want to,
It's almost every day.
you know what, I'm not on either side of this argument. I'm really not. I understand the benefits of a new school. I understand the benefits of commercial enterprise on the property where the high school is. I understand the colossal cost of a new school. Really, it's not my opinion
Then why do you
either
want to
way.
bring it to a vote so badly?
If
If you understand the charter so well, you would understand why would you want to bring it to a vote so
wanting
badly?
the Board of Selectmen to acknowledge the charter that we took an oath to uphold.
We do.
Period.
The
That's it.
petition wasn't valid. We don't have to act on it.
That
Just
is
like the
not
5
what
other petitions that
Attorney
they filed.
Wells said. That is not what Attorney
Attorney
Wells
Wells is not
said.
the town attorney, John Bennett is.
He was the acting town attorney at the time. And John Bennett told me that, told me when I called him.
He said you could act on it, but you don't have to.
Right, he said it's
Yeah,
discretionary.
we can act on it.
But
Well, you tried
all
it.
we have to do is bring it up for a vote,
No,
whether it's sent to a
we're not bringing
special
it to a
town
vote.
meeting or
We're
not.
not going to bring it to a vote.
That's all we have to do is put it on the agenda
No.
and bring it up for a vote.
We tried that, you guys asked to put it on the agenda, you asked.
And you took it off the agenda.
No, you asked to add it to the agenda, and it got voted off.
I asked to have it put on the agenda and it got voted down. It never appeared on,
Then
it
you
never,
asked to add it to the
on
agenda.
3 out of 4 agendas, it appeared, but then you took it off, which I still don't think you have any legal right to do at all.
Challenge and sue me.
Willie. The point
spending more carrots, money.
is, if the charter says this is what we have to do, why
Doesn't say we have
are we
to
doing
do
it?
it.
All right, okay, I've made my
1995 State
mistake.
Supreme Court case.
All right, I've said.
Same issue.
I just think if the charter says that these people are allowed to do this, that's all
Doesn't say
it
they're allowed
is.
to do it.
If the charter said we all have to walk around with our hair dyed blue, then guess what? That's what we should be doing. It's not our choice.
I'm not saying we have to do it.
First Selectman report.
Okay. All right, but they did file a suit yesterday late. I got it late actually, and Carol, I told it. Stan knew about it before I did because CTA sent it out to the press before I reported it.
That's inaccurate.
It did.
It's inaccurate.
Okay. Faye called me and Stan called me before I even knew about it.
Well,
So
he called us
somebody-
before we put out the press release.
So anyway,
I don't know where he got it.
I don't know where he got it, but I assume
You didn't get it from us.
somebody sent it out. That's fine, it's turned over, I'm not going to deal with it. It is what it is. For a change, all the work going on, better business, okay. I'll go right into visitors. Okay.
Yeah, I noticed that charter is on the agenda tonight, and we were away for 2 weeks, so I was not here during the hearing. But I read Stan Fisher's article, and I also read the minutes. I've seen the minutes that the Board of Selectmen, which was a good idea, unanimously approved not having a term go to the 4 years. And I know that Charter Revision voted 5-3 for it not to.
Right.
So I'm a little stymied as to why, and my understanding from seeing the video is that everyone except the chairman of Charter Revision said that they did not want this. So.
I don't know what Stan writes, I don't know how he gets.
No, I have nothing to do with Stan, I'm saying, so
The charter revision can still change that, that's up to them at this point.
but if they change it, then we have to have another hearing.
No,
Yes, there has to be a hearing for anything that's going on the charter, on the,
I got the state statute here, Peg.
I know it, really, I'm sick and tired of
Unfortunately, I got
hearing
the
you say
state
state
statute
statute.
here.
If there is a charter revision that is being proposed, it has to go to public hearing for public comment.
Not at this point.
Excuse me.
We already had a public hearing last week. If the charter revision commission,
They already voted 5-3
I'm not gonna
against it.
debate you, Peg. I know the statute, I got it here, we've been through it at
Look,
length.
it's you trying to push this through with some
Not
of
pushing
your
anything through. We voted not to go with the 4-year term.
So why is
I don't know
this
why
So why is
you're
it, so why is it?
Because
why-
Stan Fisher put it in an article in the newspaper.
No,
I don't know
no,
why he
no,
had it.
no,
We all know
no,
that
no,
Stan
Lenny
wasn't even
Cahill
at
said
He
it
wasn't even at the
was.
meeting.
He wasn't even at the meeting, so we have no idea where he got his information from. But every word of that was wrong. I have not met one person who was handed or knows of a flyer that was circulated that night. Never saw that.
It's
I
on the
have
door,
no
not
idea.
all, that's where it was.
Well, then this flyer wasn't circulated, so that's.
But it
item
wasn't,
number one.
you know,
Number two was the headline of the article would lead the average reader to believe that we are all on board with a 4-year term.
No,
And
it's
there's
no,
abs-
the headlines said that the 4-year term was voted against by the Board of Selectmen.
No, that's not what the headline
I
is.
don't think, I didn't read the article.
The headline, the
I know what we
headline.
did. Peg.
Well, as of
I
today.
know, Peg, I know what we did, so I mean, that's all that matters, I know what we
Yeah,
did.
I know the head- what I'm
And I
saying
know what's in the
is
minutes.
What I'm
It's a
saying
dead horse.
is,
It's in the minutes.
the headline
It's a
now,
dead
as of
horse.
this morning, or this afternoon, the headline reflects exactly what you voted on at your meeting.
I know what we did.
So what should
I
I
just
do?
have to do with that copy of the statute.
Let's read the story.
That's all.
I'm sure Peg's got the statute.
Which way the story?
Yeah, no, but the headline says that it was, that it was not gonna go to a 4-year term. The headline reflects what happened at the meeting, okay? So I was surprised that the article said that, and that there was still, it could still be on the ballot.
I think it's on the agenda for later, the charter, we'll discuss it with the Charter Revision Commission, but regardless of that, our minutes reflect what we did, and that's
Yes,
what matters.
exactly. No, I know that. And
You
the
know,
headline, as
that's
of
why I
now,
stopped reading the
reflects-
patch, that's why I stopped reading the Register and the Harvard
Well, I don't
News,
read-
because
I don't-
none of that stuff is
I don't-
usually
I don't-
true,
I don't-
so.
I don't do
I
patch.
usually,
No,
I know what I do.
I don't do patch, I'm just saying that as of
I
now,
live
the
the dream,
headline
so I don't have to
reflects,
read this stuff.
as of today, reflects what happened at the meeting. I was just surprised to hear that it might still be on the table, that's all. So.
The Charter Revision can certainly bring it up, that's, and they're purview per statute, so. Okay, anybody else? Mr. Simon? Yep.
Phil Sengel. Yeah, the charter revision, this four-year term thing, doesn't seem to want to go away, although there's no public support for it.
Well, I wouldn't say that, but.
Well, there's no visible public support for it.
Where are you hearing of public support for it?
But
Everyone
listen,
spoke against it.
it was an organized effort, just like we had an organized effort for the fire truck to get approved. So what do you want, how do you want it apples to apples? Yes, I'm going apples to apples.
Willie, that
Other
is
people
parallel
could have come to
talking.
the hearing.
Well, I'm just saying, we voted against it, so the
I know, I
charter
understand
revision
that.
can,
By saying it was an organized effort, that's a way to dismiss the public input, and you all know it.
just like the school passed by 40 votes, and now they're trying to dismiss that 40 vote effort.
Well, I'm not here to
The
talk
one
about
has nothing to do with the other, Willie.
They do.
No, they
They do.
don't. No, they don't.
The
Where were
vote
the
was-
people at the public hearing for the charter that stood up and said, we want this?
You're not talking now, Phyllis, sorry.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so this was, first time we heard about this, it was on a list of recommendations from the town clerk. And then it seemed to gather a life of its own. The next time we really heard about it was when charter revision considered it, and as Ms. Adler pointed out, they voted it down 3-5, correct?
Yeah, 5-3, yeah.
Or 5-3, depending on how you phrase the question, to not put it forward. The next time we heard about it, Selectman Vecino brought it up at a Board of Selectmen meeting. He made a motion which said we want to make this as part of our recommendation back to charter revision. That passed 3-2. Okay, fine. Now we get to the public hearing that the Board of Selectmen held, and there was unanimous opposition from the audience.
And what did we do?
To the four-year term, and yes, and as a result,
What I'm saying, what did we do?
to your credit, you voted 5-0 to remove it from your recommendation, but it keeps,
I don't know what the debate is.
but it keeps coming up.
When did it come up again?
And it's gonna come up again.
Because Willie just said that they can bring it back up.
Exactly, but we don't know if they will.
We don't know if they will. We don't have a crystal ball.
Because after that vote at your special meeting, you, Mr. Fritz, said that you verbalized that, well, they could consider it and that sort of thing. So, and there's probably 3 members of charter revision who are in favor of that.
They can consider anything that was brought up at that meeting.
Right.
At this point, it's gone through the board.
So now the latest argument is, well, now, it's very revealing that nobody stood up, nobody had the courage to stand up and support that proposal. So we get this undercurrent of, well, let's put it on a ballot and let the people decide. Well, let's put on the ballot a whole bunch of, let's come up with 10 or 20 ideas, put them on a ballot, throw against the wall, see what sticks. I mean, that's not the way to do it. The Charter Revision Commission was established to study the charter, to know it thoroughly, to get input from the public and town officials and come up with a package that makes sense. You just don't take things and say, well, why don't we let them decide? How about if we put the town manager form of government on the ballot? Let's let the people decide about that. I'd be in favor of that. But I don't think that's the way to run the show.
That is in their minutes,
So-
the minutes of, whatever it is.
It's over.
I'm done.
That they would like to research possible town manager firm.
In the future.
For future.
Not us.
Right.
Anybody else? Anybody? Then,
Well, I believe that every town employee is given a policy that they're required to read and sign, that states that no town employee is to use the internet during working hours, and especially through the town computers for their own personal use or anything that isn't town business. But as a result of the CTA FOI, Andrea Walliver in the
if you mention names, then I'm going to say right now, we're going to have to cut the discussion off.
Okay.
This is a union employee, it's a town employee.
Yes.
If they mention names, I have to cut the discussion off. I can't discuss individual employees. I know what you're talking about. That was brought to my attention by Selectman Walter, as a matter of fact. All right, when she was made aware of it, I addressed it per the union contract, which at that point is a verbal warning. There are levels of discipline in the union contract. Verbal warning, although it has to be put in writing, and they have to acknowledge that they received a verbal warning. And to my knowledge, After that point, it never happened again. Okay? If it had, the next level of discipline, even though the verbal warning goes in her file, is an actual letter of reprimand in the file, that the next time you can be suspended and or fired. Those are the level of discipline listed in the union contract. So right now, there is a verbal warning that she acknowledged that she'd gotten on the date, and to my knowledge, since that date, nothing has occurred.
What was the date?
I don't know.
Is it the date that I
Yeah, right after
forwarded
that.
her email?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I can look that up.
Yeah. There's a letter in the file.
Okay, so in addition to using the internet for matters of personal, party, and other uses, this employee of the town who works within the assessor's office discussed assessor information privately with a member of the Board of Assessment Appeals, including instructing that member of the Board of Assessment Appeals to contact other members of the Board of Assessment Appeals and perform certain actions, all of which violates her job. It's certainly not.
Listen, that's what you've heard from somebody.
I have the emails.
It's gone, it's away. There are
What's
level,
away?
you can't go after her job at this point. I don't know what your point is, but she's a union employee, she's a town employee. Quite frankly, she does a pretty good job. Yeah, I had to tell her, you keep your mouth shut, because I know you don't have an opinion when you're a town employee. Quite frankly, you can think this and that. You don't have an opinion, and that was part of the verbal warning. Okay. So from that point forward, I have not heard of anything that she's done to violate that. So it's a new point at this time, Ben.
If you're saying that she was warned about using the internet for something
Anything
other
that it wasn't just the internet. It was, I understand you've made comments to people as they come in. You cannot do that.
Yes, but what I'm saying is, this is a whole different thing. This is now using her position within the assessor's office as an employee of the assessor's office, privy to certain information, and then having private conversations with a member of the Board of Assessment Appeals.
It was a private conversation. How do you know about it?
Oh, excuse me, when I say private, what I mean is it's a message that is exclusively for a member of the Board of Assessment Appeals, instructing that member of the Board of Assessment Appeals to contact other members of the Board of Assessment Appeals and to vote a certain way on a particular application.
I don't know where that would go. We probably shouldn't be talking about this one because, again, it's a labor issue, and it's a union employee. I will tell you that there have been issues with the Board of Assessment Appeals in the past that potentially could have been conflicts of interest, probably were conflicts of interest that have been investigated by the state's attorney's office. Okay?
I'm sorry, that have been
Have
investigated.
been.
And shouldn't this be sent to the state's attorney's office?
That's not, and again, they're going to come back and say, it may be an ethical issue, but it's not criminal. And that's what happened in the past with the members of the board. But we're discussing an employee. So if you have a formal complaint about that employee, I think you should memorialize it in writing to me, because that's how the process starts, okay? Beyond what has already been done.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
Anybody else? Moving on.